Welcome to another podcast. Today we're fortunate enough to be joined by Jean-Philippe from Luxinnovation. Hello, Jean.
Hello, Stephen. How do you do?
It's very well. It's very nice to see you again, and thank you for joining us today. I was wondering if you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit about how you ended up where you are today and exactly what it is you're doing with Luxinnovation.
Yeah, thank you very much for this question. So basically, Luxinnovation is the national agency of innovation of Luxembourg, because yes, we have one, because we are doing innovation, and our role is to support the companies doing innovation, developing innovative projects. But of course, because of the size of the country, we cannot, so the size of the country, we are talking about 600,000 inhabitants, so it's really small. So as we cannot cover all the sectors, we got some priority sectors, let's say, and HealthTech is one of them.
Okay. So tell me a little bit how you ended up where you are today. How did you end up where you are?
Yeah, maybe going a bit on personal things. So personally, I have a PhD in biochemistry and biophysics. I'm coming from Paris. I did all my studies there, the Institut Pasteur in Paris. Then I have created different startups, and most of them in the medical sector. And yes, since 2018, I am discovering this country, this very interesting country that is Luxembourg, both on the people culture, but also on the innovation and the economy side. So most of the people, of course, they think Luxembourg and associated Luxembourg with like finance. But I think we are covering more things. So we have, for instance, a lot of manufacturing company. We have also amazing research centers, including in the HealthTech sector. And so one of my job is actually to understand this national ecosystem, to know the companies, to know the ongoing innovative project in the HealthTech sector, and to connect the people together in order to make even better innovation, collaboration, etc. And one of my roles is also like every state in Europe and every national agency for innovation in every countries. We also advise the companies on the different funding schemes that they can benefit from in order to do this innovation. And so we have different people, different teams in charge of different kind of support. So some are more for understanding the national skills that we have to support economy, and others are doing like European funding schemes. So nothing special. But maybe for the HealthTech sector, because HealthTech is always like very specific, and so we have a dedicated team where we are able to understand what the entrepreneurs of the field are, what language they are using, and because sometimes it becomes very fast, very technical. But also we have put in place since a few years different schemes that are dedicated to the HealthTech sector in order to encourage and support these companies of the HealthTech sector with different dedicated means.
So tell me a bit about the diversity in terms of Luxinnovation, and a little bit about, if you wouldn't mind, about what sectors, digital, personal medicine, and those sorts of things.
Yeah. So this also is linked to the size of the country. Since we cannot do everything in a small country, the Ministry of the Economy, I think it was in the years like around 2000, they decided to have like some hot topics, and so they did into a very deep analysis of the assets of the country. And yeah, the assets is exactly what you show. One of my first job was to do this mapping exercise. So to identify the companies in the HealthTech sector. And I found out with about 130 companies in the HealthTech sector. And what we found out is that about half of these companies, they are doing let's say, medical devices, diagnosis, in vitro diagnostic tools, and also a lot of companies, and more, they are in the digital sector of the care, developing new technologies, new tools to support the care in general. And This is really interesting because in Luxembourg we have since decades many tools to support the digital economy. So in Luxembourg we have HPCs, so supercalculators, but these supercalculators are dedicated to companies. So we have some for the public research, for the state, etc. But we also have some that are really dedicated to help companies to train algorithms, develop new artificial intelligence, etc. Everything is really connected in terms of latency time. We are very low. We have a lot of satellites, etc. So in terms of digital assets and different culture that IT culture that we have in this country is quite high. And so we have came like in 2016, I think, with a strategy that we call the digital strategy of Luxembourg. And of course, HealthTech is a part of it, it's one of the pillars. And of course, if we think about what are the benefits of the digitalization of the care, it's very clear that it can, of course, benefit to the patients. It can benefit to the infrastructure, the hospitals, etc., the hospital organization. Of course, to the physicians, but also it's also an area where you can create a lot of innovation, and I think it's as we have all the things in place in Luxembourg to support this digital economy, why not benefiting from it to develop like an IT medical sector? And so we came out with these programs that you see on the screen now. So the Fit for Start program is an acceleration program for young companies under 5 years old, where the government is paying for an intensive coaching of the companies for a duration of 6 months with a personalized coaching. So with 2 coaches, so every startup, they have 2 sessions or with 2 different coaches during 6 months. So it's quite intensive, reviewing 360 degrees the challenges of the companies, etc., in order to avoid these companies in going in the wrong direction, to really understand what are the challenges of the companies. We came out with a second program that we call Fit for Innovation HealthTech Market, because of course we are a small country again, and so if you want to go into the HealthTech sector, of course you open regulations, etc. But you also have to find your way to the other countries, because if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, if you well sell your product but only in Luxembourg, it's not a very big success. So you have to go international, and so we have to find some ways to understand what is happening, for instance, in Germany, what is happening in France, what are the key programs there that companies from Luxembourg can benefit from in order to accelerate the roadmap to be launched into the markets. And so that is a very interesting program, because we're connecting experts together with all companies, so that the experts can really guide the companies. And this is coming with a grant from the Ministry of the Economy of Luxembourg that is covering up to 50% of the cost of working with these advisors. So the typical missions that these advisors are doing is really helping the companies in building their regulatory roadmap. So from understanding which class of medical device you are, up to what type of clinical validation you need to be on the market, what kind of product files you need to have in the company to do the post-market surveillance, this kind of aspects. And the third thing, I think is quite interesting as well, we have created a program that we call the Joint Call HealthTech PPP, Public-Private Partnership, because the idea is that if you are alone, it will be difficult. So the idea is like to push and to encourage a collaboration between public research and the companies to do a common project in order to test real life all the digital medical devices behaves in the hands of the doctors in an hospital setup, or just like collaborating with research to understand, I don't know, your clinical results. And this also come with a grant from both the Ministry of the Economy for the company and what we call the Fonds National de Recherche, or the FNR, that is the national entity that can fund public research. So it's quite an interesting tool these three are quite interesting tools in order to speed up the maturation of the innovations that we are developing in the country. And so you see on the right of the slide some examples of companies of innovation that we are doing in the country. So we are talking about virtual stuff for the doctors, for the surgeons, for instance. We are talking about eye tracker to make some diagnosis of some mental diseases, etc. So we have quite good technologies.
Okay. So you're also part of the first European health data space, aren't you?
Yeah, so this is a very important thing that is now pumping up in every screens of the people that are dealing with healthcare in general. It's something that we call EHDS, or European Health Data Space. It was voted 1 year ago in March, and so today we are about to be, I don't know, we are on the 11th of March, so it's the 1 year anniversary after the vote. Last week it was published into the European official journal. So this text will be a game changer. So what it is, EHDS is a regulation at the European level, will force, I will say that like that, all the people who interact with the health data to work everywhere in Europe in the same way. So you will have 455 millions of people, all the European citizens, will be harmonized in the way that they interact with their health data. So it's really a game changer for us, because it means that in a couple of years, you will have on shelves different data sets that research can use in order to develop new tools, to develop new artificial intelligence, to maybe find new biomarkers, so digital biomarkers, to make some health surveillance of the populations to see if there are some very big differences between different regions, etc. So this is really a game changer, and it works in two ways. Meaning that for the primary, so we have two pillars. Let's say something that we call primary use, where all the patients will have some apps on their phone, and they will accept to share the data with their doctors. They will accept their data to be shared. So you can control your data. And then if you accept, your data will be anonymized and will be put on the shelves. So in Europe, you will find some catalogs of data sets, and you as an innovator, you will look into these catalogs, what kind of data you can use in order to make new innovation. So I think it's a super great opportunity for developing the competitiveness of Europe, because it's really something where that we can use in order to develop new innovation, go into new markets, discovering new links between biomarkers. So it's a super important change. And the beauty of that is that HealthTech is the first pillar. And you see on that slide that the plan of, the European data strategy will cover in the same way different sectors. So that will be implemented also in for the mobility, for the finance, for the craft, etc. So that what we are currently doing in HealthTech will be then copied, I think, in a way for the other sectors. So it's super interesting, because I think it's really, especially in the current times where we have a lot of geopolitics ongoing, I think it's a super idea from the European Commission in order to increase innovation, and so to become more sustainable in Europe, and also to reinforce our competitiveness regarding like US and Asian countries.
In these couple of times. Okay, let's talk about the European Digital Healthcare Conference of 2025 and how you're involved.
Thank you very much again for this question. So EHDS, it's really complex, and there are still some discussions on how it will be implemented. There's only one thing that we know, is that the regulation will come into force in 2029. So it has to be operational, fully operational from 2029. So it's a relatively short term in the medical sector, because we all know that if you want to launch a medical device on the market, you need 5 years because of the clinical evaluations, etc. So if you want to be ready in 2029, you have to start now to understand the regulation. But everything is not written down yet. There are still like some tasks, European work group working on different tasks in order to understand what will be the compatibility thing between the systems, etc. So it's still a work in progress at the European Commission level, but still we have to prepare. So we have to prepare our companies. We have to spread the word. We have to inform. And this conference that will happen on the 25th and 26th of March will talk about implementation of EHDS, everything that we know. And so we will invite on stage different experts, from state representatives to entrepreneurs in the digital sector, lawyers, in order to discuss how they are now guessing the future will be, and how they will tie together the different elements of the puzzle that we have currently. So that will be a very interesting conference to discuss with experts of the sector about how we are preparing this future, how we are preparing this change from before EHDS to EHDS in 2029. It's a very short time, I can tell you.
Fantastic.
So I think it's interesting here to see also some figures on Luxembourg. These are like, I call it key facts, but I think it's interesting figures that we have to understand on Luxembourg. So currently we're talking about 672, it's very precise, thousand inhabitants. So you see the size of the country. What is interesting is that a lot of people, they are commuting every day. So they are coming from France, Germany, and Belgium to work in Luxembourg. It means that in terms of people that are insured by the social the insurance of the country that we call CNS, we talk about 1 million people. Because myself, for instance, I'm living in France, I'm crossing the border every day. But of course, because I'm an employee of Luxembourg, the health insurance system of Luxembourg is paying in case that I'm sick, etc. So you have more insured people, but the size of the population. I think it's quite interesting. Of course, we have clinical labs, so we have 4, 1 public, 3 private. Nothing special there, but the number, we're talking about 4. So you see again the size of the country. So we have 4 big hospitals. These hospitals, they are really more in the acute care. So they're not like you have sometimes in other countries, like research hospitals. These hospitals are true hospitals. Patients are coming every day. You don't have a lot of researchers. Of course, in every of them, there are a part of innovation that is happening, but the doctors, they will not be paid by a grant coming from the Ministry of Higher Education and Research. They will be paid on their time to spend some time on the research project. So that's why we are doing, I think, really like qualitative projects in Luxembourg, because you will work with the specialists of the sectors of the disease, but these guys they are taking on their normal time to develop this research project with you. Size of the country again, we are talking about 2,600 beds. So of course, if you want to come in Luxembourg to study a rare disease, that will be difficult. So I think here is really what I want to show on that slide. It's really like we are a small country. But it's not because you are not a small, but because you are a small country, but you are not doing good innovation. And that's what I'm saying. Luxembourg, so you got 4 official languages. So one is French, one is German, one is Luxembourgish. Most of the people are also able to speak English. And so it's like an international country from which you can reach the other region. And we are quite central. If you look at the European map, we are quite central. It means that from Luxembourg, you can find someone from Luxembourg able to talk with the French, talk with the German, etc. So in terms of market launch for the new products, etc., I think it's quite interesting because we are quite nicely seated in the heart of Europe.
I think that what you've produced at Luxinnovations is extremely interesting. Tell me a little bit about Luxinnovations as a public-private partnership.
Yeah, so Luxinnovation, again, it's the National Agency for Innovation. I think the challenge is really want to help the companies to flourish in Luxembourg. And you will see what you see there is all the people that are contributing to Luxinnovation activities. So of course you see on the left the Ministry of the Economy, but is probably one of the major contributors to our budget. And we have quite intensive exchanges with them. I think every day there is a contact between Luxinnovation and the Ministry of the Economy. Because our role is, of course, to boost the companies doing innovation, creating jobs, so Ministry of the Economy is probably one of the most important contributors. Of course, we have the Ministry of Research and Higher Education. I think this one is also very relevant. What we do is innovation. Doing innovation, especially for the HealthTech sector, it's something that you cannot do alone. You do service, you need service companies, you need public research, you need hospitals. It's a question of ecosystem. And so here in Luxembourg, we are quite well positioned, I would say, because everything is not far away. As a small, we can commute, we can go from one people to another entity very fast. So that's quite efficient. And so Ministry of Higher Education and Research is really important because they bring all this knowledge on the research strategy of Luxembourg, and we need to have to be online and aligned with them in order to drive the companies in the sweet spot of being able to do collaborations. Of course, Ministry of Foreign and European Affairs. The reason is obvious that as a small country, we need also to go abroad, but also to help some companies that are located outside of Europe to understand what Europe is and to contribute to attract them in Europe in order to bring some more expertise in the European Union. Chamber of Commerce, Chamber of Skilled Crafts, obviously they are doing innovation. All the SMEs are doing innovation. So everything is coming from I don't know, a baker or that want to like make some robotic bread manufacturing of the breads. So these guys are also implementing innovation, and so we also have some people here that are also supporting this type of companies. And the FEDIL is the largest corporation of industry of Luxembourg. And of course, we are very interested in everything that we do in helping the companies in doing innovation in the right way and finding the markets where they want to go. So we are quite good with the 6 shareholders. They are of course very supportive of our activities in order to make Luxembourg a great country to do innovation.
It is, I agree. Well, it's been a pleasure having you again today, and I look forward to talking to you again in another 6 months. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephen. Have a nice day. Thank you for speaking again.
A great pleasure. A great pleasure. Thank you.